My family has loved the TOTO K300 bidet for almost 3 years now. It is an amazing bidet. I have also tested multiple other bidets, but I just upgraded our other bathroom's bidet seat to the TOTO S5, which is the newest and currently highest recommended bidet seat on the market. And in this video, I want to give you the full rundown between the K300 and the S5 because in my experience so far, these are the two best bidet seats I have ever tested, and there are differences that may help you in making a decision between the two. Let's get into it. Now, before I take you to the seats and really show you the differences, I do want to point out a few key pieces, and that's that when it comes to the core features, these are very, very comparable seats. They have comparable sitting experiences. The seat is slightly raised on the back, but not too much. Some people find TOTO seats to be a little more narrow in the way they round, but I find them to be extremely comfortable. They both heat beautifully. They both have incredible spray. You can control where the spray goes, whether or not it oscillates, what temperature it's at. They're both instant hot toilet seats, so the water will start at the temperature you want it to be at. There is no split second of cold water before it gets too hot. It just starts exactly where you want it to be, and it's going to stay that temp for the entire time you spray, no matter how long you use it. It will turn itself off if you just have it run. I think it turns itself off at 90 seconds. But in my family, people just sit and keep pressing the remotes and it will just keep going. So if you want that seat to keep going, both of these will do that. And they both have very comparable heating as well. So when it comes to the core features, they are very comparable. And because the K300 is an older model, it's going to probably be lower in price. And when it comes down to it, to me, price may be the main deciding factor between these two. But there are features on both that I want to point out so you really have an informed decision. Let's get to it. Now here is the TOTO S5. It is basically the same footprint as the K300, and I actually have them both on the exact same toilet seat, so you should be able to see that difference. And it has this very streamlined lid with no lights on it, but when you open it up, you will see the lights. They have the same lights. You have power, whether or not the seat is being heated, your eco mode, and then whether or not the nozzle is clean. And then both of them have a wonderfully heated seat. Again, very, very similar. And the cleaning nozzle and the air sprayer are in the same location. And then here is the K300. It has that same soft closed lid, but you may already see that the lights actually show no matter what. So you always see those lights, whether you have the lid down or up, but it has that same wonderfully heated seat. The seat might not get as hot as the S3, but I have never had an issue with how hot this seat gets. And here's the K300 nozzle and dryer, same locations. Now, one of my favorite parts of this S5 is that this seat doesn't have a seam. Unlike every other bidet I've tested, this one doesn't have anywhere for anything to collect. And then on the side of this one, it has very easy access for the activated carbon deodorizer and this little filter that catches any large debris as it runs through the deodorizer. And then the K300 has that seam that the S5 does not, both on the inside and the exterior. That's where it collects all the gross stuff. I really, really love that the S5 does not have that seam. And then the TOTO 300 has the exact same activated carbon filter, but it's not easy to access. You actually have to remove the seat and pop it out of the back, but you can remove it. And then it too also has that side filter. And then I love the remote on the S5. It's the same icons as the K300, just a cleaner remote in my opinion, but it does have some cons as well. I'll show you that in a moment. On the front you have stop, spray the bum, spray the front, your blower, and then down here you can always have it do a quick self-clean of the wand. You control pressure, where the nozzle is spraying, and whether or not the nozzle is going to be spraying a combination of high and low pressure or oscillating. And then this button right here is very cool. The S5 actually has 4 presets. So if you have a family of 4, everyone can have their own preset. Now on the back, it has the rest of the settings. You can control the temp of the water, the seat, and the dryer. That's the same on both of them. You can have the sprayer come out so you can clean it. And you can also have it set to eco mode, either a smart eco mode where it adapts to you over the course of weeks, or a manual eco mode where it will automatically turn off for 6 or 9 hours every 24 hours. But this is where this remote is not as nice, in that it has a lot of extra buttons that don't actually apply to the S5. So this is a bit more of a universal remote, which can cause a little confusion, as some of these buttons you may want to use, but you can't use them. But overall, the S5 has a beautiful remote. And then here is the remote for the K300. It also comes with a nice stand. And the K300 remote has the same icons. You have your stop, your bum spray, front, air, your 2 different types of spraying control, washing that nozzle, pressure, nozzle location, and then it does have presettings, but it only has 2. And you can just select either one of these to go to either preset. And then on the back of the K300, it's much cleaner. It has the same controls, actually. So you have your eco mode, either doing the automatic or the manual, and then controlling the temps, but much more streamlined. No buttons that don't apply to this washlet. Now I do want to show that nozzle spraying. So I have a pie pan here, and this one is weight activated by this side. So the first thing it'll do is the premist, which is its quick self-clean of the bowl. So when you go, less will stick to the bowl. And now it's actually doing the e-water rinse on the nozzle. And then to use it, I just need to press the button on the nozzle. And now it is out and it is spraying, and I can control where it sprays by aiming it with this button and how high the pressure is. I would say that the S5 has higher pressure, which I love. It gets very strong. And then of course you can have it do the various oscillations where it goes kind of in and out of pressure, and where it oscillates. And when finished cleaning, you just hit stop. Now, of course, I need to show how well the K300 sprays. So again, I'll put on that pie pan, same pressure point, and it will start up. And it also has the pre-mist and the e-water, very comparable. And then I can start with the bum spray, and you can see right there, that's high pressure. I'd actually say that's pretty darn close to the S5. So they both have really excellent pressure. I do think the S5 is just slightly higher pressure, but I really don't know if you'd notice. And then you can go down in pressure to a nice low pressure. And you can also, of course, move that and do the oscillations. So it really has all the same cleaning settings and features, and very similar experience. Now, in my opinion, this S5 is as close to perfection as I have come across in a washlet. Its pressure is perfect. The fact that it's not collecting anything in that seam is so nice. And of course, it has that incredible instant hot water, that warm seat, and it also has wonderful airflow. I know I didn't show that, but the warm airflow on this is really nice. But I do have one con for the S5, and that is that it is a little bit noisier. It has a slight whirring sound around the time when it runs. It does turn off, but it takes like 5 minutes. It's very minor. It's almost like just the slightest electric noise. And then it likes to self-clean just a little bit more than the K300 does. It will self-clean that nozzle after 8 hours if you aren't using it. You can turn that feature off, but if you have this near a bedroom, it might wake you up because of those noises. And then its deodorizer fan is just a little louder. I've actually turned the deodorizer fan off because I didn't like the noise. But if you want that deodorizer, just know that it's not terrible, it's just a little loud. I would say the K300, in my opinion, is just slightly quieter, though quite honestly, it could be just as loud. I just get more annoyed at it with the S5 since it's right next to my bed. So there's a little bit of noise with these, but that is what helps them stay so nice and clean and so wonderful. So the main differences really is where the lights are located, this seam and how easy or not so easy that is to clean, how accessible the activated carbon filter is on the side, and then really the remote. Past that, these toilet seats are very, very comparable in how they clean and how strong their pressure is in their blower and of course in their sounds and customizability. And that's the K300 for you. Now that you've looked at both of these, I think you can see that they are very comparable. In the key core features, they are neck and neck. For the most part, I can't tell an obvious difference between the two of them. And then even for all the components, very easy to customize, very clean. These are incredibly spoiling. And I know you're going to love these, whichever one you choose.